And here we go on our Thursday edition of the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. We're doing defense and special teams, really defense and kicker, I guess, more than anything, when we compare the Browns and the Bengals. Ashley, I'm going to start with you because you wrote about the kickers on Wednesday. And I guess in my mind, I've oversimplified this. So I'm going to let you kind of un-oversimplify it for us. My thinking is like, hey, the Browns need a better kicker. That's all there is to it. Like, you know, we can talk about quarterback and how tough it is to get a quarterback. We talk about, okay, the Browns need better receivers and the plan there. To me, kicker is just like, go get a better kicker. Am I oversimplifying this?
I mean, for me, when I looked at this, like, not only is obviously Evan McPherson like much better than Chase McLaughlin was this year, he graded out from PFF as the like number 2 kicker in the league, behind Justin Tucker, obviously. But for me, like, the biggest part of this is like the Browns need to find a guy who can provide some consistency. Because since they didn't re-sign Phil Dawson after the 2012 season, they haven't made it through 2 seasons in a row with the same kicker. So it's just been like essentially one and done for the last 10 years. And I think McPherson kind of shows how important it is down the stretch of a season to have a guy who mentally, and obviously is talented enough, but mentally can go out there and win you the game when it comes down to it. And he's done that 5 times this year and 3 times in the playoffs. So I think like it's hard though, because like Mike Prefer kind of talked about this season, you can't draft a guy for the sake of drafting somebody, but you like need to have the right guy. And I think mentally their ability to handle those high pressure moments is a big part of it and what teams are looking at in the NFL. But the Browns really need to like make that effort because they have not had that consistently since Phil Dawson left.
I feel like we should have Terry Pluto on this podcast too if we're going to talk kickers. But Doug, are the Browns in the playoffs with a different kicker?
Ooh. No. No, but I think a good kicker would be an actual weapon for them. And I do think we saw the Browns in the second half of the season sort of reach a point where you could almost sort of tell that they didn't believe it. I mean, who would believe in Chase McLaughlin anymore? Nobody would. There's no reason to believe in him. I actually have the answer to who the Browns kicker should be. And I'm only like 5% kidding. Phil Dawson. Don't we think that Phil Dawson he's 47. He was in the league until 2018. He would have been better than what the Browns had this year. I don't even think that's a joke. Honestly, for real. All right, maybe limited range, but like if you need a 43-yarder in 2022, who you want, 47-year-old Phil Dawson or Chase McLaughlin? I'd take Phil Dawson. The thing, Dan, that I'm surprised by the way you express your like, oh, just get like, okay, they need to get a better kicker, but like how? Isn't the how they get him very important? And the whole thing is you've got to get off the scrap heap. You've got to have a plan other than the recycling bin, you know, whatever there are. There's, I don't know, Ashley, how many kickers are there in this league who are real kickers? 18, 23? Right. I mean, I don't know. You've got to get one of them.
Chase McLaughlin was ranked 20th from PFF. So think about that. He was still ranked 20th. So real kickers, it's above 20 in this. It's hard. Like, I mean, and I know we've talked about on this podcast before, like drafting kickers, weird things can happen. Like nothing's a guarantee. It is hard to find a good kicker in the NFL. You can't just go and pick somebody up off the corner and hope they're decent. Like it doesn't work like that. It definitely, I think, is a position that people oversimplify in terms of how easy it might be to get somebody who is reliable. But I think over and over and over again, we've seen with the Bengals' success how important it is. And I know, like Dan, you asked Doug if he thought they would have made the playoffs with a better kicker. Well, that missing that Raiders field goal, I mean, who knows what happens if he makes that? I mean, that was definitely one of the biggest misses of the year for him. He obviously, in that first loss to the Ravens, he missed one. And again, like it becomes how would things have changed down the stretch of that game had he made it? Like those 2 misses were very big misses that in a tight division, you know, who knows what could have happened. I think the Bengals probably still end up winning the division and the Browns don't make the playoffs, but there is still like kind of a what if there, I think.